All right, hi all, welcome back. So we are going to finish up this tutorial on drawing basic shapes. I have two more artboards over here that you might have seen, but we're actually gonna just wrap it up with drawing basic shapes. My ambitions are always so much bigger than what I'm able to cover in one tutorial, which is probably a good thing. So, I just wanted to show you something called the alignment tool, which is very useful. It's not similar to the Pathfinder, but I would say Pathfinder and alignment are used, a lot of the times at the same time when making a composition. So, the alignment tool is great because it will organize things for you. So let's say all of these items here, I want the tops to all be perfectly across in a line. They're all at a little bit different height. I'm gonna go ahead and just marquee select my shapes here. And if I click on align, you're gonna see that you have aligning things horizontally. You can also align things vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. I want all my shapes to have the same height. I've clicked it and you can see that they do. I could also choose to have them centered or for them to all be the same on the bottom. And then there's an object distribution, which is really nice. We're not going to get into that right now, but let's go ahead and wrap up by just drawing some more illustrative shapes. These were taking up a lot of space on my artboard and I really don't want them to. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and marquee select these. And I have them all selected. If you hold your shift key down and drag these in, they'll all get smaller together. Isn't that nice? All right. So you can see I have some like tree and flower type shapes over here. So let's go ahead and replicate some of those. And let's start with a flower because who doesn't like flowers, right? Okay, let me zoom in a bit here. So what I want you to do is just take the circle tool and go ahead and make some oval circle type things. And we're gonna arrange these so they look a little bit more like a flower. So I'm gonna take my selection tool and go through and just kind of rotate these and place them differently till I get kind of a flowerish type of shape. Something like that. Perfect. We're gonna marquee select all of these, go over to our Pathfinder tool, and we're gonna unite them all. Look at that. Now we have a flower. Then for the center, I'm going to simply take my ellipse tool. Now I want to build it out from the center, and if I hover, it'll give me kind of an idea of where the center of this object is. It's right here. And I'm going to hold down my shift and option key so that I can grow that ellipse or circle from the center. There we go. Let's pick some different colors. So for the fill on that, I'm going to use a little bit more pale yellow. And then for the flower itself, we'll go ahead and choose, well, pink. Why not? Okay. So the stem is going to be really easy. The stem will be a rounded rectangle. Just simply brought down like that. Perfect. There we go. Now, of course, the problem is that it's on top. And so what we can do is go over to our layers panel. Now, this is a bit of a mess right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. You don't have as many objects as I do, but we will get to learning how to arrange these here soon. But what you're going to do is you're going to click down on your rectangle, the one that you just drew, and you're going to drag it under the ellipse and the flower path, and you're going to let go, and it's going to rearrange it to go into the back. You can go in and rename these just by double clicking. I'm not going to do that, for this tutorial, but you can rename them if you want to. So let's go ahead and bring up the swatch panel. I'm going to choose a green for my stem, of course. How about a little bit darker green? Perfect. Now we just need to make some leaves. So I'm going to introduce a new tool to you. So let's go to the ellipse tool and let's make an oval. And we are going to use something called the anchor point tool. Shift-C is the quick keys for that. And this will take a rounded anchor point and make it pointed. So we're going to take that. And then to make our leaf shape, we're simply going to take this tool and uncurve the top and the bottom. And there we have our leaf. So you can see how useful this could be. Just knowing this basic skill set of tools, you can almost illustrate about anything without even using the pen tool at all. Now, the pen tool is extremely useful, and we will get there, but you can do a lot in Illustrator without even touching the pen tool, which a lot of people get frustrated with because it's hard in the beginning. So I'm going to hover over the path and hold down my Option key, and I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Now there's all kinds of fancy tools in Illustrator for mirroring things perfectly. Like I could have used the mirror tool to duplicate that, but we're just sticking to the basics for now so that we do not get overwhelmed. All right, so there's our flower. Now if we look at our layers panel, we see all of the properties, all of the different shapes of our flower here, right? All highlighted. And our layers panel is getting a bit messy. We have a lot of shapes. And I wish there was a way that I could click down on this and move it all together as one. So we are going to do that by grouping it. Move this down just a little bit. So what I want you to do is go ahead and click down and marquee select all of the assets in your flower. And you are gonna, there's two ways you can do it. I suggest the hotkey, of course, but you can go to Object and Group, which is also Command or Control G, okay? So Command or Control G, Group. Now my flower's in a group. And if you look at the layer panel, it's turned into a group here. And I can rename this flower. Isn't that neat? All right. So now you can see how useful this would be in illustrating. Let's say I have a composition where I have many, many flowers that I need to create. I'm going to go ahead and make this a bit smaller. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and squeeze that in a little bit. I'm going to hover over a path and I'm going to duplicate this because I have lots of flowers in this world that I'm creating. I'm going to go in here and let's say I want them to be distributed evenly between one another. I can click on my alignment and I can say, hey, let's distribute these evenly. Okay. And that's great. So if we look at our layers panel now, you can see we have flower, 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 flower. They're easy to identify. Now let's say I want to further organize things, and I know that I want these flowers grouped together and I want them to stay the way they are for the most part. I'm going to marquee select them all. Now watch what happens over here in the layers panel. Command or Control G, and we've got a group within a group now. These are all groups. And you see how the hierarchy comes down. I suppose I should, let me make these a little bit bigger. Let's say 40 pixels so you can really see what's going on here. Okay, so we've got groups within a group within a group. Now, let's say I take my group and I like it, but I need to make some changes. But now it's all grouped up and I don't know what to do. And when I click on it, I select them all. And that's irritating, right? You can use the direct selection tool in this case. So I've clicked on this particular flower. You can see that it's selected here. And I can go to my properties panel and I can go ahead and change the color like that. I can also select something from this panel. So let's say I want to go into this flower. I want to change the color of this one. I can just select this little dot right here. And then I can go to my properties panel and choose a different fill for that one, like so. So grouping can be really, really useful. Let's go ahead and do a tree. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab my ellipse tool here, and the first shape that we are going to be making, it will be a tree shape. So I've gone ahead and made it there. I'm gonna take my direct selection and I'm gonna arrow that bottom up to flatten it out a bit. I am gonna select the top here and I am gonna drag that up. If I hold my shift key down, it'll keep it perfectly in line. All right, so after I drag that up, I see I've got quite a nice little tree shape here. I'm gonna come down and grab my rectangle tool and make a nice stump here. And I'm gonna go ahead and manipulate that a bit. I'm gonna let the guides do their trick. Now, if you're not seeing these guides pop up for whatever reason, those can be found here under View. Smart Guides is checked on. Command or Control U is your controls there for that. So yeah, and I'm gonna give these a bit of a rounded bottom because that's gonna fit the style of my tree a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and just click both of these and grab my alignment tool to make sure they're perfectly centered. My stump, of course, needs to be behind my tree. And then I'm gonna go ahead and choose some color here. We'll go for a traditional brown for the bottom and then a green. Whoops. Let's go with that one. And then the top of the tree can be this. Let's go with this darker green. We're gonna give it a few more details here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab, maybe we'll just give it some blossoms here. So I'm gonna grab the star tool and I'm gonna drag it out here until I get the shape that I want. And you might be thinking, how could this be a little blossom? Remember, your Option and Command keys are gonna give you those options to play around with the points. So I'm gonna stretch that out like so. I'm gonna give this a different fill, maybe a red. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my direct selection tool going over here, and I can manipulate this quite a bit. So I'm gonna pull these in like so, pull it in like that. That's looking good. And I'm gonna make it the right size. And I'm gonna go ahead and just populate my tree with some of these. All right, now I'm gonna group that so that my layer panel is looking nice and clean. So we're gonna marquee select everything to do with that tree, and we're gonna go ahead and group it. Ta-da! Then I can rename this tree if I want. All right, so everything's looking really good. And you might be thinking, wow, this was really simple. We didn't really do a whole lot with this tutorial, but remember, there are all different types of visual styles out there, and I wanted to show you an artist that actually works in very, very simple geometric shapes. Let me just go ahead and I will I'll put a link. There'll be a link in Canvas to this, but I wanted to show you this artist. I really like the work. It's super cool, but I just wanted to show you all the different work that he's done, and it's all just really simple geometric shapes, and it kind of goes along with, you know, the visual style of this particular artist. So definitely check out the Instagram here, and you can see there's a lot of great things you can do with just really basic geometry, okay? And we'll continue to build our skill set in Illustrator. So what I want you to do now, you're gonna have 2 artboards, one with the basic shapes from earlier on, and then our flowers and more complex shapes. So you're gonna save your project, first of all. And then what I'm gonna show you how to do is export these as a PDF, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to File, Export, Export As. Well, that's incorrect. We're gonna go to File, Export, no, Save As or Save a Copy. Actually, I can't remember. Let me see. Yes. So, I apologize. We are going to be exporting JPEGs out of here later on, which is the Export As. But for this, let's do Save a Copy and see if that gives us the PDF. Yeah, so File, Save a Copy, Adobe PDF. You want to make sure that Use Artboards will be checked by default, and you're going to choose All. And I'm going to, yeah, Basic Shapes, Copy. I'm just going to say Tutorial. You might want to use something that you're going to remember that this is the tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save. It's going to ask me a bunch of questions, and you can just leave this all at default, okay? I'm going to click Save PDF, and what you're going to find is that it exports this nice little PDF for you that has your 2 artboards. Now, I had 4 artboards, and I forgot to delete the 2 artboards before I exported this, but you'll just have the 2, like so, okay? So remember, that's File, Save a Copy, and then you're going to choose PDF. And what you're going to turn in is this little file with these 2 shapes pages as a PDF, okay? And that is what you will submit for credit to the tutorial. All right, you made it through. Congratulations, everybody. I hope it wasn't too painful, and I hope you feel like you've got a good foundation on creating some shapes and creating some artwork based off those shapes, and then using fill and stroke a little bit. We'll get more into that as we go further along in the course. All right, bye.